Hi, this is Numeric Citizen. In today's video, I want to share some thoughts about my constantly evolving craft use case and maybe have a quick look ahead. I've been using craft for more than 2 years now, and if I look back at what was my craft use cases back then and I compare that to today, I would say that there is a big difference. I would say that my craft usage has been more focused recently, and I want to reflect on that because I think there are some takeaways to consider when I'm looking at this evolution of my craft usage. Um, as you can see on the screen, I have a bunch of apps that are currently open and that I'm using on a daily basis to support my creative journey. And if I look back 2 years ago, I wanted to do everything in craft, like people who used to work in Notion. They want to have everything in Notion, and Notion becomes kind of a information operating system where you can do everything. And when Craft came out, I was a Notion user, as you probably already know, and I wanted to switch to Craft because it was better in design and speed and all that stuff. And I remember trying to use the Craft daily notes where I wanted to use that for supporting my to-do tasks, where I would enter a week ahead planning, and then eventually all the tasks that would not be completed would be moved to the next week. But eventually I found out that it was not exactly the best solution for that, and then I kind of dropped this use case. And a lot of use case has been dropped over time like that. If I look at what I used to do, like for the planning portion of my use cases, I switched to things tree because I think it provide a more focused and a more optimized workflow for managing tasks in general, in my case. Also, I used to use Craft for saving a bunch of bookmarks, and I remember at the first time I saved bookmarks in Craft, I thought the bookmarks preview was very nice looking, and I thought it would be a good use to store all my bookmarks in Craft. And eventually I found out that I could not store any related information to those bookmarks. I could not tag those. I could not easily write a note and then bundle it with the bookmark itself. So eventually I started to look around, and I understand that there is already a bunch of solution regarding bookmarks management, like Raindrop, for example. But eventually I decided to settle on Anybox, which I think provides a very optimized solution for my case. And then eventually the same goes for my digital garden, where at first I would put everything inside this digital garden, and eventually I removed the bookmarks, I removed some content highlights that I used to share over there, and then I had a much more reduced in size digital garden, and sometimes I'm even asking myself if it's worth to maintain. I've been writing less and less in Craft, even though Craft is seen as a great writing environment. I recently wrote a long analysis of a RSS or content aggregator called iKnowReader, and my whole research started in Craft, and eventually when I was ready to write the actual text or the actual article, I switched to Ulysses because I thought it was providing me a better writing experience and a more focused one. So again, I kind of drop craft for that specific use case where the research is starting in craft, but the actual finished products are being done elsewhere. And the other use case where I started to use another software is called Zavala, because it's a software designed to write outlines. And I published in the past a video showing how craft can be used to create more or less complex outlines. But eventually, I prefer to use again, a more focused approach and use a specific task for that. And I'm pretty happy with Zavala in general. The use of cue cards, like what you are seeing right now in this little window here, is done with IA Presenter. It's the maker of the IA Writer. This is a very well-known application. And I decided to use this instead of using Craft because sure, I could do some kind of cue cards in Craft and then use pages to switch from one cue card to another one. But again, I think a dedicated tool for that makes a better use case. So again, I switched to IA Presenter for that. So I guess if you look globally about this, is it's kind of the same thing when you look at a mechanic where car repairs happens to be done using many different and focused tools. And I think the digital environment is no difference. And then using a very focused and narrow but well executed software is a better solution in my case than using a general purpose tool like Craft. And I think it's a more efficient working environment too. And this is why I decided to kind of reduce my use case of Craft. Now the question is, what's left of my Craft use cases? Well, there's still many use cases for me with Craft, and they're actually very important in my creative workflows. And one of the use of Craft is for creating supporting document, like for producing this YouTube video, where I'll use a Craft template, which is right here. If I double click on that and use the edit, there is a bunch of sections that are helping me to prepare the each episode. And so Craft templates in that respect are very useful, and it makes me much more efficient in my workflows. But there's some limitation in Craft templates, which I'd like to be addressed eventually, but I think I have to be patient in that. As you know, I'm still using Craft for writing about Craft, like Craft on Craft. As you already know, maybe I'm the author of the Making Craft Better series, where I share my thoughts and documents related to how Craft could be improved with each release. And so for that, Craft is very excellent to support this type of work. I would say also that Craft is used for all of my research project. And if I look at the more recent project I did, was for the analysis and review of the excellent RSS and information aggregator called iKnowReader. And for that, I add a very complete article or document with all my analysis of this, and I'm trying to look at it right now. So I guess I'm going to hit Reader, my experience. So as you can see, searching in Craft is not exactly the most, yeah, this one. So this document is divided in pages where each aspect of Reader was put in a separate page. And I have this old page here, this old document grouping all those subsections that are actually pages. And for that, I think Craft is incredible in supporting that type of work, because you have this ability to move things around and add some rich content like the images, photos, and diagrams like this one. And when I decided I was ready to write the article from this research work, I then switched to Ulysses, where I created a group of documents. In Ulysses, they are called sheets. And then I wrote this long article in Ulysses, and eventually, as you can see, you can see the exact same diagram. And I went from Craft to Ulysses by using the shared feature, where you can use this, and then you can transfer directly to Ulysses. So I eventually I did this transfer for each section, and then eventually I grouped them all in Ulysses. And from there, I could make the last changes, review my grammar, and things like that. And as you can see in Ulysses, there is an outline of this old document, which is more than 7,000 words. And I can go to each section. I know we can do that in Craft, on the web version in Craft, but it's still not available on the native application. So that's why I switched to a more powerful tool like Ulysses to do that kind of thing. And also I can see all the outgoing links in this document, something that we cannot do in Craft. And this explains why I'm leaving Craft behind for that type of work. And I can also add some notes about this old document, something that I cannot do in Craft. And I can have this general view of all the media that is stored in this long document. Again, something that cannot be done in Craft, but can be done in Notion, or it can be done in Capacities. So you understand that Craft limitations are actually driving me choose more focused tools like AnyBox or Ulysses or Things Tree and things like that. So no wonder why I'm kind of I'm not leaving Craft behind by itself, but certainly there is a need for me to use more powerful tool, and that's why I'm kind of switching to other tools. As you can see, also, besides doing some research, I do have a lot of websites built with Craft. And one of the most famous one is the Craft Bible. If you don't know the Craft Bible, I'm the author of this website, where you'll find a bunch of information related to Craft. So if you are a new user to Craft, I really encourage you to have a look at this website. So this website is shared using Craft, and the publishing experience is very easy, because as soon as you start to write things in those documents, then it's already available on the website. So this is done by sharing this document, and this is how often this document is visited by readers all around the world, and it's a pretty popular one. And this is one example of Craft powerful as a powerful tool for publishing simple website. There's another one, the Digital Garden, which I'm also publishing. But if I go in my other um, space here, you'll see that I have a complete list of all the shared documents that I have built over time, and it shows how powerful Craft can be for that specific use case. So yeah, I'm still building a lot of websites with Craft, and also using Craft for supporting my work as a YouTube video creator. So yeah, that's Craft is a very important tool. It's still a very important tool in my digital tool set. Now, if someone would ask me how or what is Craft good for in today's world, I think Craft is good at many things. The first is if I was a student at school or university, I would definitely consider Craft as a great way to support studies and for doing research work. I think Craft is very powerful in that respect. And also from there, you can create a lot of beautiful documents that you can share online, or that you can export as a PDF file if you have some documents that you have to share with others, or with your teacher. For that, it's a great tool for those use cases. I think it's also acting as a great starting point for many different projects where you want to kind of gather a lot of information, and then you want to move things around and then add some stuff, and eventually produce document after processing all that information. I think Craft for that is a very good tool. And also, if you are looking for some inspiration, maybe you should look at the Craft template library, where you'll see a lot of different type of documents in different type of fields, and for you to maybe consider different use cases. If I go in this my template here, and then I select a new the browse template, you can see there's a bunch of templates that are made available for free, that are available from within the Craft environment yourself, that you can pick yourself and start from there. There's a few issues in my mind regarding the way Craft templates are working, but it's nothing that is a deal breaker. And also, as you can see, there is no way to move in the templates browser using the arrow keys. You really have to use the mouse for that, and I think it's a pain to have to do that. I used to create a lot of templates. If I switch back to my default space here, I do have a lot of templates, and I used to use one which is called an article templates, which is available here. If I'll double click on that, it's a templates that I used to use for supporting my research work. But for some reason, I stopped using that, because sometimes I prefer to have a blank canvas in which I will drop a lot of ideas and images and diagrams and bookmarks, and then eventually I'll start to move things around and organize this information. But if you want to have a canvas or a structured way to work on different research projects, then you can build your own Craft template and then use that afterwards. So yeah, this is maybe a use case which I drop over time. I still use a lot of templates, though, as you can see in my template library here. So this is the templates for the video production, but there's also a few other templates, like when I'm doing a new analysis of a Craft release, then I'll use this template here to guide me in the way I should present things with each analysis of Craft releases. So yeah, I'm still using templates, and for that, it's also a source of inspiration if you are looking for different or new Craft use cases. Now the question is, what if I left Craft behind? What tool I would consider using instead of Craft? Well, first thing is I'm not considering leaving craft behind. It's a too important tool. It's a very important tool in my tool set. That being said, I think I would consider maybe three choices. Notion, because I already know that this environment. I used to be on Notion before switching to Craft. I still have an account. I'm still paying for a monthly fee for a subscription of Notion. Sometimes I'm switching back to Notion for doing some experimental work to see how things are going there. I see there's a lot of improvements to Notion in the last year or so. So I would consider maybe going back to Notion. Capacities is another contender where I would look seriously. It looks like a Notion clone. I would say it's very close in functionality, but I think Capacities brings some a little bit of a different take on the design language related to how we use such type of tool. It's not as powerful as Notion, but you know what? I don't really need this power or those capabilities myself. So maybe Capacities would be a serious possibility. There's also Obsidian, where I could maybe look at it. It's a different beast. I'm not sure that I like how it works. It's a very powerful and extensible environment, and it's very ticky in look and feel. I do use it from time to time to see how things are moving in with each releases, but maybe that would be my third choice, and maybe Capacities would be my first choice if I had to leave Craft behind. And one of the reason and one of the thing I would need to be able to do if I had to switch was the capability to export my content. And it's not an easy task to do in Craft if you are using complex document with a lot of subpage and things like that, but I would certainly have to consider this aspect. And the other one is, how should I keep sharing my website that you saw earlier in this video? I would have to replicate this functionality. For that, I think Notion and Capacities already can do that. I'm not sure about Obsidian though. I think so, but I'm not sure. But certainly Notion and Capacities are both able to share documents behind a custom domain, for example. So yeah, this is the things I would consider if I had to ever leave Craft behind. So that's it for this video. I hope that you liked it. I hope what I would like you to do, if you have a specific use case that you want to share with with me, don't be shy and just comment below this video. I really would like to hear about and read about other Craft use cases, and maybe exchange ideas on how Craft is evolving and influencing your Craft usage. So again, for watching until the very end, thank you for being there. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And also, see you guys for another one. Peace.